Insane dragons, wyverns, and everything in between call this ark their home, and it is our mission to beat the dragon boss, Malice. We have 100 days to complete our mission, along with a taming competition with all of my supporters to see who is the greatest dragon tamer. Hey, my lovelies, I am your ringmaster Crowmeda, and I invite you to grab a drink, hold on tight, and say it with me now, let the show begin! Here we are, beginning our adventure in the Ire Cliffs, and we get straight to getting our basic survival gear as per usual, turn this lystro into stakes and hide to make these sleeping bags, and then we get greeted by this little amphitheater. Seems harmless. For now. Bolas are a staple survival item, so we get a few, some mini-me's of course, and get our lunch stolen by this pego. Once dealt with, bow and arrow was the logical thing to make, which helped to take down this here moth. The silk of it allowed us to make a tent to take shelter against the elements, and to end off such a productive day, a set of hide gear was thrown together with some parachutes for extra safety. Day 2, when a basic bed was placed, so as long as that doesn't burn to a crisp to a dragon, we should be good. Next to it, mortar and pestle, and bam, narcotics. Some more hide, and shazam, raft. We are steamrolling this. And why not a bed on it? And off we went on a little expedition as I had a solid plan for the early game on this map. This overseer would do just nicely for what would soon happen. A quick trip up this mountain to get some crystals so we could make the awesome spyglass, as there are tons of dragons and wyverns on this map with unique taming mechanics, so this will be very handy dandy. And now, my lovelies, it is time to tame our first dragon. Yes, sir. No tranks required. Sneaking past this sand dragon, we saw our target, a Teodrio. But the sand dragon had places to be, apparently.
Whoa. Yo, where are you going?
Day 3, and let me tell you, these Teodrios are the cutest little guys. Their description literally says they come up to survivors in hopes to get snacks. So, I fed it the mutton that we got, and after a long wait, Snackers was tamed. I mean, just look at this boy, he's a little angel. That might not be fast or good for combat, but it has this cool barrel roll. Snackers needs a friend though, so we tamed this Moschops and named him Bob. A quick metal sop had to be done to improve our gear, but once I arrived at our little outpost, a winged drake decided I had no right being in its territory. So after fending it off for a long time as they use hit and run tactics, it finally was slain. Even though most of our adversaries can fly, some spike walls would surely be useful, so I set some up at night. So, we got our first wyvern, we are on track to taming a vast amount of draconic creatures, and there's so many! We got the water serpents, poison spitters, lightning shooters, and of course, fire! Hey! This is my show!
Hey dude, the Titans came in Hero Wars. Uh-oh.
Titans? Well, we all here are familiar with Titans, but he must be talking about the ones from today's sponsor, Hero Wars, which you can download using my link down below. Let me tell you about it and its new updates. In Hero Wars, everyone can find a character that suits themselves. We got you covered with cyborgs, aliens, monsters, anything you can imagine with a ton of heroes to unlock. I'll unlock Chaba next, the awesome tank who can literally munch his enemies. But Celestia is the real S tier. She can switch between a DPS dark form and a healer light form. Truly a jack of all trades. Some of the outfits are very nice. There's no equal to Hero Wars. You can play it on the go, or like me, as I'm cooking up new videos. Every month there is an event in the game. They have recently rolled out new Titans, my fave being Karos, the Titan of Darkness. He looks super cool, but he can also devour enemies' vitalities and then attack with it. Also, there's cross-server guild versus guild modes now available. It's very easy to start playing, but perfecting your team of heroes takes true skill. For example, Mojo the Shaman can't heal Darkstar the Elf as efficiently as good old Grandma Martha can, while the Slow Cleaver makes a great pair with the Swift Isaac. Hero Wars is a world of 6 unique modes, more than 300 Guild Wars servers, and 100 million players. You can play alone or compete with your friends to see who's the top dog. Pop quiz, my lovelies. Where can you get 30,000 coins, 600 emeralds, and 5 awesome heroes to start dominating in Hero Wars right away? The answer is the link in the description below. Play Hero Wars now. So about that metal, on day 4 I made this medieval forge to get some smelting, took Bob out on a little narcoberry run, and fly into the skies to inspect these floating islands. I decide this one here should do just fine, even though the only resource it offers is wood, bushes, and water. So, to claim it, I plopped down some foundations and pillars to mark this area as my own. For the remainder, I did some flying on snackers to bring stuff up to our new home. Day 5 was used for setup with more halls to bring up my stuff. However, I got to making a smithy along with metal tools, which I took with me on a little resource expedition, where we saw a azure wyvern looking real nice. Oil was collected with no problems, and why not grab the obsidian that's right here too? As for cementing paste that I was wanting, the area only had one beaver dam that was left standing, so we took what we could get and back up we go to our new sky home. Day 6 started off strong with a fabricator, and then we explored some more for resources. These poly plants came in handy to stock up quickly. The map has so many cool creatures to offer, as we saw this weird looking dude, and right after, a wild dragon boss was just chilling here for some reason. An amazing discovery was made that we can use weapons on the back of snackers, which is amazing for taming on this map, as this place has no griffins to offer, so it's good to know we have a flyer from who we can shoot. The excitement does not stop there though, as I spotted some random wyvern eggs at this mountain range. I needed to shoot my shot, so I snatched them up and flew for Snacker's life. I saw a wyvern was pursuing us, so we went pedal to the metal, which is not very fast with 90 movement speed, but we did get away. Or so we thought, as I landed for stamina and a little amphitheater scorched us and almost killed our boy. Jetting up to the sky base, we arrived safely, but it's weird. The egg is a fire wyvern egg, and at the area there are only sand wyverns, and it says its parents are amphitheaters, so like what is in this thing? Next morning I whipped up a preserving bin, did a flint run to make all of these here torches to hatch the eggs, and as the bar was slowly decreasing, Twitch chat and I were trying to predict what was gonna come out of this, and we were pretty solid on that it would be a sand wyvern, and boom! Fire wyvern. Weird, but it makes sense I guess, but it's dark blue. It's such a cool color. As for the second egg, it was also a dark blue fire wyvern, and lucky for us, we can breed the two if we so desire. But we did name them Trick and Scam since we all wanted sand wyverns. The remainder of the day was used to go get metal. And that allowed us to make a crossbow on day 9, and off we went to look for dragons, coming across a massive bronze dragon in its slumber, a small little fireball dragon, and a big boy, a high dragon. Look at this prime specimen. We do gotta get some of those for sure. I think all of its heads do something different. Finally, we saw a sky wyvern being all majestic in the, well, sky. And back home we go to make narcotics with Bob all night since we got a lot of taming to do on this adventure. Day 10 and we were like a well-oiled machine, doing some cementing paste runs with Trick to stock on up, do a bit of a metal run, to finally make this here harpoon launcher, along with some net projectiles. Pretty sure this is going to be a dragon's worst nightmare. And back to narcotics all night. Now, if I'm gonna want an amazing sky castle, I need a building crew. So we needed new recruits. Starting with this here Doedic, which got the old night-night treatment. I did end up guarding it all day to make sure that nothing aggressive spawned next to it, so on day 12, Roly-Poly was ready to rock. Literally. To keep up the taming spree, we went home to repair the crossbow, and now we went to look for an Anki or an Argy. The former was spotted at level 145. After some shots were fired, she went down, and I babysitted her like Roly-Poly. And finally on day 13, Rocky Balboa was tamed, so after another crossbow repair, it was Argy time. After a long time of finding no high-level Argy at all, we came across some wild wyvern eggs again, and twice higher level than the ones we had, so yoinked them up and rushed on home. This egg in particular says it was laid by a winged drake for some reason, but it's a fire wyvern egg. Look, if any one of you know what's going on with this, let me know in the comment sections. But yeah, a orange fire wyvern hatched and was named Third Degree. As for our RG hunts, all day, everything was absolutely abysmal level-wise, but at night, we found a horrifying beast, a Atal Drago, which seems absolutely insane. I don't even know how to mentally process what this thing is. The next day, a horde of modded herbivores were spotted, a whole bunch of different little guys. Later on in the search, we stumbled upon a pool of unimaginable pain, a overspawned lake filled with spicy noodles.
What the f?
I'll be sure to stay clear of the water on this map then. But even more crazy creatures were here. Some vampires that are like bat wyverns that steal health? Really neat, but what wasn't neat was that one of them chased me off into the mountains. That is some insane aggro range. The upside to this chase, however, was that it made me stumble upon an even better fire wyvern egg, a 130. So of course I snatched up and went on home to do that, and along with a makeover, you know, applying Dragon Knight skins to my new flak armor set to look all fancy schmancy, and no makeover is complete without a good trim. We welcomed Blister into the world the next day, waiting for it to raise up to breed it. Again, looking for an RG, we spotted some new mammals roaming around the forests. Plenty of trash level RGs again. A prince wyvern doing whatever a prince wyvern does. Kusata? Something? And a gosh darn geobreaker. These guys are what keep me in disguise. I do not want to come across one as I'm having a stroll on foot. Just look at the tentacles that it spawns. It's crazy. But yeah, no luck on the birds, but still cool to see that we have the new cargoes on the map. Very nice. 17, metal shoved into the forge and got to work on making spark powder.
Oh, we look like Geralt from Rivia, from Bollywood.
The spark powder, once was turned into gunpowder, led to making simple ammo, then darts, and finally, a trusty long neck.
There it is.
With the Doedic now saddled up as well as the Enki, we did some runs picking him up with Trick. The collected resources from down below, like stone for example, was used to make dino gates. We should be set to tame something cool, so the hunt commenced. I was picky though. We passed by so many new creatures on day 19, like these worms that are like reaper larvae it seems like, a large water dragon just chillin', a viper tooth, which apparently deals torpor based on what I was told, and a dark smoke's breath. I felt like a kid in a candy store. I didn't even know where to start. I did need to save snackers from some scorpions, and as I flew up to safety, terror rushed over me as the sentinel boss Malice was smack dab in the middle of the map going on a absolute rampage. I didn't even know he could spawn naturally. As cool as he looks, everyone on the server was warned to evacuate the area immediately to avoid casualties until he could be faced properly. Once out of the danger, a 185 wing drake caught my eye. It's small, fast, and a high level. Pretty much everything that I was needing in a flyer. But as I got closer, it almost killed snackers in a single fire breath. I needed to approach this one myself, it seemed.
Oh, he can't be bullet. He can't be bullet. I repeat. Okay, that's a bit of an issue.
Okay, so I needed a new strategy, but as I was thinking, something invisible started nipping at my ankles. In a panic and in full sprint, I turned and netted the darn thing, which ended up being a drake. Okay. Now that I could think, I set up the gates and decided the only choice I had to tame the winged drake was to try and get it into these like you would normally do as a trap. Alrighty, day 20, and we continued the hunt as the drake was hiding amongst the tall trees. I did my best to lure it, but it has the attention span of a Yuri, as it just would not for the life of me enter the flippin' trap. I tried forever, but came to the conclusion that since it seems to always stay at a certain height from the ground, I would need larger gates for this to work, so I set my sights on another tame. This here blue fishing drake, which was a very easy knockout, and as I was getting fish for the tame, some bizarre creatures showed themselves. Some kelpies and sirens in the water, singing their wretched songs which applied some debuffs to me. But at least the tame was successful later in the day. And this little blue guy we named Blue Dabadies. I was still itching to tame something badass when on day 21, I found a gem, a legendary storm drake, a majestic and oddly peaceful titan. It says to tame it passively when it bows to eat, so after a ton of pesky creatures were removed from the area, I gave it a shot, and I did not get it to work. I spent all day trying to feed it, pressing the correct key to feed it when given the prompt, and I gave up on it sadly, but later I realized, thanks to speaking to the mod dev, that you need to stand at the head to feed it, so let's hope we come across another one soon. 22 came around and I finally found a good enough RG for our crew, so easy KO, and bada bing bada boom, Flappy was ready to be our metaphorical wheels. And next to us was this lonely little Vulga Yaku, small and defenseless, so I took him in and named him Big Chillin'. You're safe now, buddy. Just in time too, as this gigantic Todoragon flew in. But these guys just seem like big flying meatheads that just do donuts around you. We could have tamed it since it barely fights back, but I didn't have enough tranks. So again, a night of narco brewing. Here is where I went into resource overdrive now that we had Flappy. The next few days were productive but flew by. All of day 23 was used to get metal as more narcotics were being made back at home. 24, changing it up a bit with a whole day of purely stone gathering with Roly Poly. 25, Rocky took care of Flint, since again, there's not a single stone on my entire floating island. And 26, I went to tame a beaver. This guy should do just fine. After it got KO'd and fed, McChompers got a job as a lumberjack, fulfilling his life's calling. And he got straight to work on day 27, gathering up wood and clearing out our future base area. And Rocky pitched in for some thatch gathering. Man, we are so stocked up on resources, so why not really go the whole way and gather oil and obsidian until we can't no more. The hard work paid off though. 28, and we got us these here behemoth gates finally. Many nets and crop plots. Right, I forgot I wanted to farm, so a quick little crystal run to make these here greenhouse pieces. The goal is to make kibble soon, so I got to placing pipes up here at the pond, and, well, the entire area says there is no snap point, so I'm gonna have to bring water up from the ground. Really starting to regret the space location just a tad, but nothing we can't solve.
This has to go there. This is gonna be rough. I made straight pipes, not vertical.
But fret not, my lovelies, for I was not discouraged, only stupid, as I began to prep pieces for the largest pipe the world had ever seen. This took up all of day 29, only for at the end of it to not be able to build any further.
You have to be kidding me. No. Do you know how much time I put into this? I tried so hard.
Needless to say, I was quite upset. You know, for an architect, I really didn't take into consideration the 3 key words. Location, location, location. So there was only one thing that I could really do on day 30, which was to make a farm next to water, like a normal person. Look, I wanted my floating island to be a utopia, okay? And I see that my dream was flawed. I tried all day for veggie seeds with Bob and also by hand with none to be found, weirdly enough. It was first the next day when I started getting some and finally got all 4 seeds around midday. Cool, so now we got the seeds, but we are missing a crucial key ingredient, bacon. We flew across the map in search of a piggy, which was found in the early mornings of day 32. Knocked out and named it accordingly to its purpose, Poopsicle. The farm was finished up shortly after, and with Poopsicle's generous contribution, veggies were planted and there you go, veggies collected. 33 was a day of grand significance as a royal worm was spotted, a poisonous water-based beast. I didn't want it to follow me into the sky and kill snackers, so I was gonna do it on foot. Luckily, the net gun was effective, or I would have been truly in a pickle, as they say. Tracking was complicated, but we kind of swapped places from time to time on who was in the trap, since in all fairness, it was also hunting me, so. After some wiggling, it got sort of stuck in the trap, and with a final net to prevent it from torpor running, it went lights out, to be tamed and to be named Moist. It does not seem to be able to fly, we're just so glide, and has a water boost. I mean, just look at it, it's constantly moist. I was on a taming high after that, so I needed more dragons. Some hunt drakes were spotted, but they need veggie cakes, so maybe later. And some abnormal dragons, which, well, I'd hate to be the bringer of bad news, but that's some stingrays, my man. A true terror was spotted, a level 145 banshee, and I wanted it. So I rushed home to get some sleeping bags, then returned, only to get immediately chased by the darn thing.
What is that? What is that? What did he... Ah! Oh no! Oh, we just got saved there.
An opening in the cliffside seemed like a good place to hide, so I scurried on in there to catch my breath. But, hey, if I can trap it in here, this might be a good environment to tame it in. So, I lured it into the cave, got myself out of there, and started cooking up a plan. And let me tell you, my plan was absolutely, positively, 100% flawed, but I tried it anyways. I placed bags up on top and parachuted down into the water, as I was thinking if I was underwater, it might not be able to hit me. Net gunning was effective, and I was raising its torpor when it broke free and started screaming at the top of its lungs, shattering my eardrums. My health was dropping drastically, so in a panic, I net gunned it and it landed in the water. I needed to heal up though, so I brought out Blister and went further into the cavern to safely eat some food. As I returned around the corner back to it, I saw its torpor drops faster than any creature that I've ever seen before, which made me realize that I'd need many more narcotics, tranks, and definitely healing brews to succeed on this tame, so I made my way out of there, imprisoning the Banshee forever in its new tomb. I did see a ridgetail wyvern that I wanted to tame, but it just let itself get eaten by Thylas. Sag. But on the way home, I saw a level 150 Earth Dragon. I really wanted one as they seem to be tanks, and this is max level. Sadly, it did not fit into the behemoth gates, so I needed a new approach. So on day 36, I got some large bear traps made with some metal billboards and returned to the scene, where it was next to this little ravine area, which is perfect terrain. It waltzed into the trap to get stuck, and I placed some gates around it, and it wasn't going anywhere as I rained down tranks from above, knocking it out later in the day. As it was taming, my Twitch chat was trying to come up with a name, and the people wanted to name it Toph, Terra, and Wiggles. So we compromised and named it Tough Pharaoh Wiggleton. We tested her out the next day, but it has a very weird hitbox. It did not have an easy time hitting the training dummies, so we went to attack some Lystros when we figured out its hitbox is at its crotch. So as it smashed this poor Lystro, yeah, we realized that Pharaoh Wiggleton officially hip thrusts her enemies to death. The search continued later, this time looking for a sand dragon, as it is similar to the earth dragon, and I wanted to compare the two, but no luck on good levels today. With even less luck on day 38, the only highlighted creature we came across was a cavern dweller, which is like a spiky roll rat thingy, and a aberration, a two-headed spino, carcanos-bodied, theory-clawed abomination that can shoot poison. And have holy shit, they can jump high. 39 had me trying to tame this dragon boss when I got alerted to a level 130 sand dragon on the map, so I rushed on over there and I tried to trap it, but it seemed to have the same issue as the earth dragons, that they don't fully fit into behemoth gates, so yeah. Their hitboxes are also busted, as it didn't seem to deal any damage really. We were all very confused about that, so I messed around with it all day and finally knocked it out. As it was eating, a vampire came out of nowhere and started attacking, so I needed to lure it away from the tame to not lose effectiveness, burn it to a crisp, and then keep watching over our new buoy, who was tamed up on day 40 and named Sand Lion Jiggleton. Look at these two distinguished beings side by side, the Wiggletons and the Jiggletons. Now, there was an aqua wyvern that I saw chilling at a beach, so I went there, set up an entire trap, and shot it to lure it in, but it just floated there. Not a care in the world. And as it tranked out, it floated in the sky, which made it impossible to add food to its invo. Oh, ow! But I wasn't gonna give up just yet, as net guns seemed to work.
It actually comes down! Yo!
So on day 41, we net gunned it in the last stretch, knocked it out, and began the taming process, but it drops like 100 torpor per second, just like the Banshee, and it never eats. Which is when I got told that to tame it, I'd need around 600 narcotics and like 12 in-game days to tame it. And I did not have that amount of narcotics or time. So I killed it and decided I'd try one in the future only if I have kibble to make it faster. But I wanted to tame something, anything. So this Pterodos in the water seemed like a good idea. Spoiler alert, it wasn't, as it did not care about my trap at all, leading me to die, as it is a highly aggressive PT. I returned swiftly with snackers, and after a tense process of trying to save my wyvern from it, we killed it. I needed to return home to repair all of my things after I took that many L's. But yeah, many things needed to be done for my new plans to be set into motion on day 42, starting with setting the wyverns to breed, and get as many rare flowers as I could from the beaver dams, and a poly trip from the plants like last time. All this was to make this ghillie set, bug repellent, med brews, some exceptional kibble, and off I went to the beehives. This first one had no queen, sadly, but the second one sure did. And we got her. Fuzzy Butt was officially one of the tribe. Now, for veggie cakes on day 43, I made a sap tap and placed it in the redwoods below, and I decided to plant narco berries at the farm due to our water wyvern incident. I want to be ready next time, okay? Veggie cakes were coming along nicely. Many darts. Convert Fuzzy Butt into a beehive and settle her down. And time for Rex taming to have a stable source of eggs. I came across 2 at the end of the day, but both sadly died in front of me. At least this low-level female Rex popped up near us, so the next day, after some monkey taming, she was ours and ready to help out with kibble production. Narcotics were being taken to a whole nother level, making like a bajillion. Trust me, I counted. And at sunset, a male Rex was caged to boost our egg rates. 45, and there you go. All tamed up. But you know, our base needs some more flair to it. So I made a mason forge, and then a blacksmith forge. The latter allowed us to make this lovely cottage from our mods, which I decided to put some stairs in, but I almost forgot to set my Rexes to mate, so there you go, you lovebirds. Later, I started decorating the house a bit with beds, furniture, and torches to liven it up. Not much to say about 46, just making some kibble. Takes forever to get the water up all the time. Now, 47, I decided to make just a few appetizers to have on me at all times should a situation require them, as I went out to look for cool new tames. And boy did we find the jackpot. Illyrian and Bahamut chilling next to each other, and they are passive tames that can be done with sulfur, apparently. I can do that. So, off to the base, grab it, and make some appetizer grenades. A king dragon was circling near the two bad boys, so I needed to be cautious. I used the grenade on the Illyrian and got closer when I realized you can't put sulfur in your hotbar, and apparently that upset him more than me.
Uh-oh. 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 This is bad. Oh, shit!
What in the crisscross applesauce just happened? Blister, our main wyvern, was no more, sadly. It'll be remembered. As I got my stuff back, I saw that our attacker had rage on him. And apparently that means that it has become a boss and will stay untamable. So we can conclude that future attempts can only be done with element, I suppose. So, element. Day 48, and I tested 3rd degrees fire on this broodmother, but it would take way too long to kill this, so we needed some more DPS, which would be in the form of a pangolin wyvern that deals bleed. So, go home to grab some trap pieces. Near the redwoods is where they like to hang out, and sure enough, a level 145 was up for grabs. I spammed gates on it as it was eating in the woods. However, it got out without a problem, which later led me to getting chased. Its bleed slowed us down, but luckily this Diplo here was a perfect distraction to get away. Another trapping attempt like this yielded no results, so a trip home was made to grab smaller gates this time. We tanked some hits and seemed to have it sort of trapped, but this Banshee, it ruined everything. Getting flashbacks from the last one here. Its screams and its poison was enough to sadly end Trick's existence, along with our own. Thanks to nearby sleeping bags I had placed, I got my stuff back, but now was all alone in the middle of dragon territory, with no way to get home. A cottage nearby provided some shelter to think of a plan, since, well, like I mentioned, I have no backup flyer and our base is in the sky. Man, our base location really has so many drawbacks. I was thinking this weak ridgeback would be a safe way out, so after the knockout was done, safe word was tamed. And let me tell you, its wings are as functional as all of my Twitch chat's brain cells and mine combined. They don't work. I had no saddle for it, so I jumped on its back and whistled around to no luck, ran it into the water, and it just sank like a rock. I even yeeted it off this ledge and whistled follow, and it could not have cared less. It just accepted the fall. So the quickest option was to put all of my stuff in a box and proceed to be eaten alive on day 51 in order to respawn back at home. Once there, I hatched 2 wyvern eggs to have some spares raising up just in case, and go back with Scam. Got my gates back, along with my gear from the box, and brought a sacrificial terror bird to the pangolin in hopes it would eat it so I could trap it easier. But it did not approve of such a offering and chased me off for a bit. It decided to go for a swim the next morning in an attempt to make this taming process even more difficult than it needed to be. But with some swift gates, it was finally trapped. Tranking began and it got out.
Extra little bit of... Ah! It got out!
And I died.
Fuck you. Oh, shit!
And many, many more times did I die trying to get my stuff back. I was breaking down mentally, spiritually, and physically as I was running out of tames to tank the gate process with. But our only hope left was Flappy. And with another spazzy spamming of gates, it seemed like it did not get trapped, but somehow through a miracle, it was finally fully stuck. I was shaking, but got straight to tranking. It took us into day 53, and big shout out to Spooky here for staying within render distance through the taming process as safety, that in case if I would die, it would not end up phasing through the gates and escaping. It dropped its heavy body to the ground, allowing me to feed it some mutton. I still find its description kind of hilarious.
The description literally calls him Steve.
It does take forever to tame, as I only brought 2 appetizers, but the moment you have all been waiting for was on day 54, when Noot of Death was tamed, and had 43 levels into health, so he is a beefy boy. We returned home happily, feeling so accomplished, and once there we repaired our gear, and off to go look for something more chill to tame, to get more species into our roster. These here hunt drakes should do just fine. I fed them veggie cakes, but these little guys don't seem to have much of an appetite, leading me to spend almost all day here, gaining me 1 fire hunt drake and a lightning variant as well. I was scouting the area, encountering a cousin of our Yaku, a Cristatu Yaku, looking all gorgeous, and then got chased again by a vampire, and I was not gonna lose snackers, that's off the table. As we went to land for stamina, I quickly potted it up and tried to net gun our attacker so I could make my escape, which did not work, so I ended up being its lunch, requiring us later to get our stuff back with Noot. With more appetizers prepped on day 56, we went on the search for a partner for Noot. A female was spotted, but it was fighting a golem boss, so after some tense luring it away, gates were used stupidly, failing and leading to this spare wyvern to pass on to the afterlife. Backup was needed, so we were going to try this again with Flappy since that seemed to work last time. We almost succeeded on 57, but it broke free and damaged us quite a bit, so thankfully, healing on Flappy is easy eating corpses, but as we returned to it, it died as it had a fight with some aloes and got whipped by a Bronto.
Yeah, it's dead.
I just want to breed these dudes! We continued our search, but only found another male at night.
It's a male.
I was getting desperate for some good luck. I set wyverns to breed an army on 58 and set out to fight the broodmother on Noot due to its bleed, so we might manage the fight, but it was taking way too long with its enormous health pool, so almost the entire day was wasted trying to do this. More and more scouting for a female pangolin when we came across a skelltor, a giant skeleton wyvern, and it also needs element. Man, we really need to start killing bosses ASAP. A low-level female pangolin appeared, and I say I wasted no time to tame it, but I did since multiple tracking attempts failed. No surprise there, but we did absolutely stop it in its tracks eventually, and thankfully land the KO. And there you have it, folks, a female pangolin tame. Time to rush home to breed, after naming it as per request, Nudie in the Noots. But as I roped them onto the hitching post, they can't breed. I was devastated. This was my grand plan, my one-way ticket to beating the run. My bossing army plans of a horde of Noots was shattered in front of my eyes. In a desperate attempt to get a win in some way, I went to go fight the broodmother and saw that the ones on the floating island already were contested, so we headed on over to a cave where a level 55 was spotted. Our trash fire wyverns were brought out and we began to give it our best shot, but even with Noot pitching in, very quickly we realized that, this was not going to work. It was a long fight, but every fire wyvern had died. Not gonna lie to y'all here, I was dead-ass nervous on how I was going to win this run at this point. Naza in my server tipped me off that black pearls could be used for taming bronze wyverns and that they were located at this pool when killing the water scorpions, so we stocked up on those. I figured blood bags would be a good idea in case we came across a good vampire or two, and off I went to search for bronzes and the mentioned vampires as they tend to all hang out in the same spot. But to my surprise, every single one there was abysmally low leveled and no high level tames on the entire map showed themselves that day. The only solace I had was that the wyverns were sort of coming along at least, and for the rest of the day I was looking for a good Rex to breed with mine, but everything was just garbage.
That facial expression is my emotion right now.
In the early hours of day 64, I was recommended to tame one of these giant poison dragons, as apparently they're not as bad as I thought, and I'll take whatever I can get at this point. This level 75 was the best one around, and as it fell to the ground, it was swiftly tamed and named Nurgle, and placed in the soul terminal to accumulate some levels, as I spent the remainder making medbrews. A female level 145 Rex was spotted and trapped, which would be perfect to breed to make a horde, considering my fire wyverns are not much of a powerhouse. This bull wyvern came to try and ruin my day, but it was removed before it could kill the Rex, and it got tamed and set to breed with my Rex. A hatchery was placed, and back to narcotics and appetizer grinding. 66 was an entire day of grinding metal and making Rex saddles, but it was about time to test out our new power, which was to use big ol' Nurgle to fight some brood mommies, as we need a lot of element.
Come here, mommy. Papa Nurgle's come to play.
And let me tell you, this was such a good recommendation to tame this poison dragon. It was just what we needed to have a shot at some much needed progress. The first brood fell and we got our 20 element. Second one was contested, so I went on over to check in the cave, and man, this boy is so big, every single time I dismount, I take like half my health and fall damage. no mommy was there, so we went home to make parachutes at home so we can actually use this guy without always being close to death's door. 68 came around and I was thrilled to get more elements, so 2 more bosses were on the floating island, which we got to work on leading them into the water for some cheekier kills.
Look at it. We're headbanging.
By the end, 1 was slain. And on the glorious day 69, the second one went to meet its partner in the afterlife, so now we got a total of 40 more element. Now I was just still wanting to tame some absolutely insane passive tames this run, and considering how those have gone so far, some cactus collection was done, so that on day 70 I could make some cactus broth to be on the safe side. Which was perfect, as after some scouting, a Larion was spotted and I definitely needed my revenge arc on these dudes. I got straight to feeding it elements, but I did get frightened that it would go into boss mode as it was flapping its wings and attacking some creatures, but seemed like it was not raging, so I quickly went home to make more appetizer grenades in the meantime. Which were all done on day 71 as I rushed back there to not lose the tame, and my dreams of taming an Alarion were finally fulfilled as we fed it its last element and named it Elatrion. Flying on this thing is just so much fun and I'm excited to use it as it has multiple elemental modes to choose from, but first, medbrews needed to be stocked up. Now, I had not given up on Rex Saddled, so we needed to do some hide runs and keep an eye out for tech creatures as I wanted element dust for the boss spawners. When a slumbering giant was spotted amongst the trees, a high-level bronze wyvern, and that's just why I got the black pearls for earlier. So, I wished to grab some and some broth, get back to this bad boy, and started the feeding process, running away after every feed to make sure that it would not aggro. This tame was thankfully successful and was named Liberty, another fine specimen to add to our collection. We tested its skills on day 73 and it has a cool looking fire breath, wing flap, and a tail swipe. And well, its wingspans is large enough to give everyone a good fright seeing when this thing pulls up. But I needed to focus, for crying out loud. I needed hide and element dust, so we started doing that. But another amazing creature came into view distance, a high dragon, which was the one tame that I wanted since the beginning of the run. However, these have really high torpor and insanely low health as glass cannons, so we needed to be careful in the form of going to hunt for some jellies for biotoxin. The harvest was plentiful at dusk of day 74, which helped us craft a ton of trank shock darts, so off we go to get this goofy fella. Safe spotting on this cliff was the obvious choice to trank it as it is an easy target and can't fly, which led to an extremely easy KO. Sadly, a Parasaur had some business to settle with this slumbering titan, which probably messed up taming effectiveness, but it wasn't high level to begin with, so With the use of some of the kibble we made, it was tamed and dubbed Quadro per Twitch chat request. And look at him, he has a ton of snapping heads. Now, element dust. I keep getting distracted with good tames. When it happened again, a skelltor was close by, and y'all know I can't just leave it here without taming it, knowing full well that I have the elements. As I was feeding it, it was going ballistic, spinning around like a Beyblade, making this quite annoying but funny. And I quickly went home to make some grapples to help me reach its feed box and got straight back to it. Grappling up to it on day 76 seemed to do the trick to feed it, and I somehow ended up on its back.
Whoa, whoa, easy, buddy. Hey, I'm on its back. Absolute natural talent right here. I am a dragon wrangler.
I was so glad to see that we got it tamed. The edgelord and everyone was ecstatic. And we named it Sans. And its skills are cool too. It has this fire breath, which you can sort of draw with based on where you're looking at, so that's pretty cool.
Holy.
Okay. Dust. Element dust, we need it. So after a lot of searching, this tech para was tamed in hopes to make a farm. And on day 77, a breedable pair of low-level raptors were tamed up. They won't give us much dust when bred, but here's something. We set them to breed next to the Rexes when I got the bright idea to make a arch-tempered boss summoner, because why not? I went away from the base to craft as I was unsure if it would immediately spawn in, which in hindsight was a very big risk. But as I crafted it, I saw that it had a 15-minute spoil timer, and I was not planning to lose my element that we used for it, so we needed in a panic to whip up a bossing team. Luckily, its spoil timer got extended by a bit when placed in a bin, and we got to popping out Rexes and Wyverns to level them up, saddle a few of them, and set the Wyverns to use AI special attacks since, I gotta be honest, my Wyverns are pretty trash, so we needed some burn. 78 was used for more preparations. I set Elatrion next to the health level Rexes to heal them as I set Elatrion into blood mode, and it heals the Rexes, but not as good as a Daedon, in case you were wondering. 79 was the day the battle would be held. We flew out with Nurgle and our bomber squad of fire wyverns to this snow plateau, brought out the Rexes, and summoned it in with this spawner, and it could spawn multiple of different bosses, so we had no idea what would come out, at what level, and we were completely clueless as to how the fight would go. A arch-tempered Rex appeared, which is like a frozen skeleton Rex. Our tames were sent in batches to not waste them all in case it has a one-shot attack. Our wyverns were circling it as it had some insane pushback roars and a seemingly geyser attack. Our tames were getting stunned and knocked around, but in the end, most wyverns died, but we did land the kill. This gained us 2 power stones in this here Rex's inventory, and this is perfect as we need 2 to craft the Sentinel Malice spawner on day 100, so I was relieved. To be sure we had more element to spare, we went to kill more broodmothers, which was also intended to get more XP since we need to level up to level 100 ASAP to unlock the final spawner engram. It was slain on day 80, and the remainder of the day we went to go look for cool new tames, but nothing was around. 81, a baboon known as Raiju was seen. Seems like a thunder monkey that needs a Kirin horn to tame. Cool mechanic there, but no can do. XP note was grabbed in this trench and started crafting a ton of keep foundations in hopes to level up and get stuff ready for a build that I was wanting to do, but we needed more XP than this, so the Rexes were set to breed again to make a nuke box, and a crystal run was needed for more soul traps with Rocky. As we did our run on day 82, a Apex Rock Drake came out of nowhere and absolutely yeeted Rocky into the stratosphere.
Holy, whoa, holy, what, what? Excuse you, Rock Drake.
I quickly flew out to search for him, but just as I found them in a pond, it got eaten by the attacker. The salt was real. How am I supposed to build my base now? I retrieved some crystals and returned home, hatched the Rexes, grabbed another note, and baby nuke time, which almost got us to where we needed to be level-wise. But on day 83, we accomplished our goal of level 100. But we needed the extra crystal that we lost on Rocky to make the Sentinel spawner, so we got some by hand. And now we had everything we would need for the final fight. Some searching was done for some cool legendary tames, but sadly none could be found on that day, and the same goes for 84, so I just ended up making some more saddles, which needed more hides, so we went to go on day 85 to munch on some herbivores when I killed a amphitheer, which reminded me, these guys are annoying but have a very interesting taming method. See, they drop amphitheer fangs, and as you can see here, when planted in a crop plot, you get big ol' eggs that have hundreds of amphitheer eggs inside of them, so I spawned in a frick ton just for shit.
Look at them, they're so colorful.
86 was tragic. I was in the midst of doing a metal run by hand when an amphitheer and wing drake started chasing Flappy and me.
Leave me alone.
I was close to running out of stamina and luckily managed to de-aggro them.
Ooh, mama.
But as I returned up with my haul, the amphi was not quite done with me. It burned us in the sky, my stamina was running out, and I was just flooring it to get to the top to not fall down. We made it up, but sadly, Flappy met its end as it used its last strength to get us to safety. And the chaos continued as it went to my base and started to burn my tames, which became a total mess. We managed to somehow kill it, but in the midst of things, it ended one of my tech raptors. Man, I can't have shit. Day 87, I just went to go kill another brood, as we just barely had enough for the final boss, and it's good to have some extra for tames, so I fought this one, and it kind of just ended up vanishing into thin air, so we waited a bit and another one spawned in, so oh well, time to kill this one, I guess, which was easily done with Nurgle. 88 was kind of weird. I crafted a dragon saddle and tried it on Nurgle, Elatrion, Sans, and it didn't work since I forgot what items and dragons are from which mod, and after making a dragon helmet and later on a wyvern saddle, they only seemed to work on Safeword, our weakest dragon, and God knows he does need the extra protection. Till the evening, I was organizing my dragons to soon count how many species we have. The morning after, I was making behemoth gates to prepare an arena for the fight as Malice likes to jump around a lot. This was inspired by watching Aaron Aztec's 100 Days Dragons video. We placed some under this arch and some on the side, and time to saddle up Rexes for the coming battle. 9-0, baby! 10 days to go and I was leveling my fire wyverns and naming them after all of my lovely patrons who support me every month. Thank you very much. Sadly, 91 didn't record, but you didn't miss out on much. As you can see here on day 92, we fought off a sky wyvern, which was causing us some problems, which we later beat, along with a apex rock drake, since everything was wanting to aggro onto this little fob that I built on the day prior, which today we started to stock up with some extra flak and also some more medical brews. 93 was used to gear up some more, like giving us some new dragon skins to look the part, since things were tensing up and a change in attire might change my levels in confidence for the final fight. Even made a silly shotgun and ammo like it's gonna help. But how could we forget? We were racing against all players on the server for the most tames, and time is almost up. A veloprey got knocked out as well as this sand wyvern, but in the adrenaline rush to go on a taming frenzy, I forgot appetizers and it wouldn't tame, so we ended this one. But we did tame the veloprey. A razor tooth was next, and I was spazzing out so much, I didn't even realize that it was a passive tame.
Let me get into your info.
So I messed that one up. And then a aqua. But to tame it, it needs narcotics, which I also forgot, so I rushed home to grab some. And luckily, this one did tame up quickly. The abyssal serpent seemed like an easy option, so I knocked it out. It went into a hole, weirdly enough. And I did tame it, but as soon as I did, everything else seemed to get jealous and killed it. So 2 tamed, 3 failed. 95, let's go, 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 go! A Pterodos was hunted down and tranked, got some fish, which again I didn't have on me, and after fighting off many things that wanted to aggro onto this sleeping beast, it was tamed and locked in. This Hydrome was our next prey with a very easy knockout and taming process. That's one more to our list. Finally, a Jabberwock was spotted, and they are very rare, but the only way to tame one is to have killed one prior to get Jabberwock glands, which lets you passive tame one later. So we killed it in hopes to maybe spot another one in some miraculous encounter. 96, and we soon need to lock in our tame count, and I was spending my time trying to tame this ground wyvern, which had so many wing drakes fighting for it, as it seems to work similarly like a Yudi. First, at nightfall, it was knocked out, and tamed on day 97. I wanted to go get one last cheeky tame, as there was a poison worm nearby. That's like a basilisk variant, so I grabbed a fire wyvern egg nearby, escaped from the parents, and tried to offer it to the worm, but it just wouldn't eat. So that's that. It is time to line up our tames and see how many we got and see who is the winner. As you can see here, we personally got a total of 22 different species, which I'm very proud of, but that didn't land me the winning spot. The person to land first place and claim the title of greatest dragon tamer is Spooky, with a grand total of 26 different species. Congratulations, my man. 98, and the army setup was done, as I wanted to fight the boss on day 99 in case the fight would take more than a whole day. We got our Rexes, placed some of our larger tames in the other end, Tafera and Sandlion in the middle in hopes they tank some initial aggro, and prayed things would go smoothly. And here we go. Final boss time! The summoner was crafted, and our army of fire wyverns were brought down as a ball of wings and fangs blocked out parts of the sky. Truly a sight to behold. Fireworks were going off, and we were all excited to see the grand finale. And now, without further ado, let's bring this bad boy in.
Oh, there he is. The Rexes are trying to get to him. Everybody, get his ass! Go, my wyverns, go! Let's bring in the other Rexes. Move out, Rexes! Get him! Whoa, he lifted them up. I need to recharge Sam. Why are you... Whoa! Why are you not all attacking him? Come on. Alright, seems like it's killed our main army. Skelltor. Go, Sands! Bye-bye, Sands. I think it's time to bring out Liberty. There we go. Go and get him, everybody! Alright, while they're busy, we need to set up more Rexes. I'm not giving up yet, chat! I'm not giving up! I don't see his health bar, though. Oh no, I disconnected!
Alright, things might be going south, but the worst was still about to happen. I disconnected at the worst possible time. I did get back in and he was still around trying to get to my body. Seems like the arena cage was a very good call. So, we needed to keep up the pressure.
Go, my Rexes, go. Oh, he's on the other side. I think it's time to bring out Papa Nurgle. It's Nurgle time, everybody. He's left the perimeter. He seems to be immune to the burn. This is the Clash of Titans. Oh my god, my health. My health. Nurgle, no. Go, Nurgle.
He was starting his rampage across the map and no one was safe. We needed to beat him before things got out of hand. I prepared some more Rexes and went to lure him back. He is insanely aggressive, so even luring him through the water was no safe task. But the absolute worst case scenario happened to me as I saw that he was frozen in the air. All of my servers crashed due to none other than the non-optional frickin' turkey event update. I was so devastated, so mad, and above all, salty as I logged back in after the updates were done and got to see that it had despawned. But in all fairness, I am pretty sure that I would have lost as I was essentially out of creatures at that point, so I will honorably take the L this time. Big thank you to everyone who chilled out with me live on Twitch throughout this adventure, my patrons of support, and you the viewer who watches the videos. And of course, big thank you to Hero Wars for sponsoring this video. Use my link down below to download it and start playing now.
Choose your side. Play Hero Wars.